Hello, everyone. I hope you're well. You can't hear me because I haven't got my mic. Get my act together here. Right. Hello, everyone. So where were we? I was singing just now. It takes your whole lifetime to figure out how to be a normal, healthy human being, and then you die. So why can't you figure it out when you're 10 years old? Who is it said? Youth is wasted on the young, or something like that. Anyway, here we go. So one of the things I find helpful in my own understanding of the conditioning of my mind body, and I'm never quite sure if what I experience is the same as what you experience, because I don't have access to that. So you have conceptual structures like Four Noble Truths, dependent origination, and intellectually you can all, one can agree on that, but life isn't an intellectual structure. And the mistake some people make is they try to fit their life into an intellectual structure, whereas I think the intellectual structure should help you understand your life. And that's attachment, like attachment to concepts is, say, some of the language around jhana. People are trying to get this thing, which they call jhana. They're not quite sure what it is. Someone has told them what it is. They read about it, and they're trying to get this thing. And then they're trying to fit their life into a structure which has been suggested to them. Whereas the structures, seems to me, should be reflections on life. Should help you understand what's going on right now in your own mind body. Not that you can't describe experience, like you can describe an experience of awe. Maybe you've never experienced that. But there's something about attachment to views which is very unhealthy. Very unhealthy. That doesn't mean you don't have any viewpoints, but this politics is fraught with it, and so much horribleness of humanity comes from just this attachment to views. So I've always been trained and encouraged by my teachers to reflect on the teaching, and so what I'm offering is that it's like, try it out. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I won't give you your money back. So it's sort of it's in that spirit of reflection, as opposed to belief or disbelief. It's not that either. So anyway, one of the things which I find very helpful is just a very simple notion of head and heart. And it's not just a notion. So when my head is operating, I'm analyzing, I'm just using thought a lot, critical thought. It might be just functional, it might be judgmental or cynical or something like that. So it could be loaded with some negativity. Then that affects me in the head, right? I think we all have that. So it affects me in the eyes, affects me in the temples, in the forehead. So obviously being aware of the head as an object in awareness is helpful, rather than just operating from the head. And that's that meditation which I did earlier. Very briefly, I said, notice your eyes as objects in awareness. Notice the orbs of the eyes. Notice the temples as objects in awareness. Then you really get a sense of pressure, stress, these kinds of things. And it's not even an exercise in trying to relax. It's just an exercise in noticing. You can use it to relax, but just like noticing, okay, there's that. But then also, when the heart is, how should I put it? When consciousness is more abiding in the center of the chest, say, just as a way of talking, then there's a different sense. There's a different sensibility. And that's for me, the sensibility of receptivity. So, I mean, it's hard to describe this in words because it's a visceral thing, and so I'm not, I'm not, it's not kind of black and white in that way, but I don't know about you, but I can notice tensions and in the structures of the head, and then I can bring attention down, open the throat, feel the top of the chest, and feel the heart opening. And that's a different way of relating to the world than from the critical mind. Both can operate, and I find an incredibly helpful tool in living. It's almost a cliche, living life from the heart, but it's actually physically very, very true. I find. I'm sure we all. I hope we all kind of structured the same way. So that there's something very simple about that, as opposed to the thoughts and narratives in thought that I might have around worry, around issues of maybe resentment or anxiety or regret or guilt. You can, or judgment. You could have many scenarios which are very much driven by head-centered thought and energy. So, but to simplify all that, you could just see the tension. It kind of simplifies everything, and that's always, to me, part of the reflective part of Buddhist, even the concepts. They're always trying to simplify things away from the storylines and attachment of narratives, who I am as a person. So just body awareness as like as a kind of background constant in your awareness practice. What's the head doing? It just becomes automatic, doesn't it? You just kind of, oh yeah, you just start to notice that all the time. And then the other of actually allowing attention to drift down, like float down, by opening the throat and resting there. It's a completely different kind of experience. And to me, that seems the when His Holiness the Dalai Lama tells me to that compassion is the method. To me, that's the physical embodiment of that method. And again, this isn't canonical or whatever. It's very, very intuitive. It's hard to put into words because it's not words. It's not that. So in my own practice, I do that a lot. If I'm going through security in an airport, which I do quite a bit, it's not a happy situation, right? And then I just do that. I just look at the difference between heart and head. Because you always get through security, but you're never sure if you will get through security. You always get to the other side, but then the natural situation, it might be one of tension, it might be late for the plane or whatever. And that's a perfect time to notice that, because actually I just have to stand in line. And it's not like I have to do anything. I've got my passport and my ticket there. And then just to kind of do that deliberately, but down to the heart. And then actually, I'm with all these people in a beautiful way, rather than, well, give this guy an elbow so I can get in first. And then it goes up to the head again, I don't know. Oh, down to the heart again. And that's a very real experience of, I think, compassion, not a conceptual, all these beings are so lovely. It's like I'm really with the situation, and I'm actually quite happy until I get stressed again. So it comes and goes. So that I find to be so valuable. I find it very valuable in Yoga Nidra practice, because there's something about Yoga Nidra, you can really, really notice what your body's doing. It's just so apparent whatever energies are in the body. And if it's a very heady energy, then to allow it just to sink down, keeping the throat open. That sometimes you just find you're yawning to get the throat open and your belly's opening, and then there's the abiding in the heart very, very strongly. And that, of course, plays forward, because then one has learned the intuition of the heart being open, being receptive, And that you don't really forget, because it is very, it's pleasant. It's pleasant and it feels right. It feels right. It feels like it's on the path. And exercises like that in these non-complex situations then are important, because they create a body memory and a kind of way of paying attention that you remember and you can employ or deploy in an airport, or in a committee meeting, or when you're with your parents when things are getting uptight or whatever like that. So these kinds of exercises they're not like techniques as much as intuitions that hopefully we all come to just through our curiosity and investigation. But I would really recommend that, like when the mind is running on some narrative, remember not to try to get rid of the narrative and just then watch the breath, because that'll be more head stuff. But actually notice, what is the narrative or the storyline or the papancha or the prungdang? You know the word prungdang. I use it so often. Prungdang in Thai, prung is to season, dang is to dress up. So that's what they use for mental proliferation in Thailand. And it's a very good one. Prung is like you season something. You have a curry and you season it all up. And dang tua is when you dress up and you're going to go out on the town and do things that people do on the town, which I can't remember. Is that the right tone? Okay, Joey's Thai. So, but that's a great word, because that's what we do, right? The narrative takes us off into prung. So the Western monks, what we anglicize the Thai words. So we say, oh, he's prungdanging again. we do that a lot. We have a fun with the Thai language. So then if you're kind of just in the intellectual mode, then you're trying to solve it through more thought. I shouldn't be thinking like that. I should be more mind, and that's just more prungdanging actually. But then if your intelligence is also body based, I would say, because there is an intelligence in understanding your body. It's not just conceptual. If your intelligence has a kind of body basis to it, then as that pressure in the head comes up in all manner of ways, it's just very obvious. And it doesn't really matter what the story is. And then you, through training and craft and doing this again and again, you learn how, oh, let's go down here. Let's go down here. Let's go down here. And it becomes a very simple way of actually letting go. But to me, that seems what letting go is about. It's that you're letting go of that grasping that quite often is centered in the temples and the face and the eyes, and coming to receptivity from the heart. I find that I use that a lot, very, very helpful. And the thing is, it's actually quite enjoyable. It's not like hard work. Oh, I got to get to the heart now. What does it mean by the heart? Which is more thought. So the suggestion is that you kind of, well, I guess I should try it as a meditation, right? Yeah, maybe that's the way to do it. All right, we'll do that. Yeah, okay. Because these things aren't like techniques for me. They're just the intuition, right, of freeing the heart in all kinds of ways. Okay, so with that in mind, let's maybe see if I can do a meditation on that. So I shall shift to the chair. So we'll sit for 45 minutes and I'll try to give some instruction in this thing that I talked about. So awakening to the way things are. It's like this, listening, receptive. And just notice the silence of presence. Non-becoming, not trying to achieve anything, receptive, these beautiful ideas. Listen to sound. And perceive sound as in awareness. Feel your whole body. Feel your whole body sitting here. And perceive that as in awareness. So not focusing on the body as an object. I'm noticing the body as physical sensations in awareness. So it's a receptive quality. Bring attention to the face. Make conscious the feelings in the mouth, the lips. Let that become conscious. Again, notice it's not like a hard focus. Rather, that's just localized attention. And that whatever manifests in that area is what you notice. So it could be nothing. It could be quite strong. The spirit of it is this kind of that awareness is conscious space, shall we say, as a way of talking. And that in this case, the mouth, the sensations of the mouth is an object that arises, vibrates or whatever in awareness. It gives it the sense of space. So feel your tongue, let that become conscious. And the teeth. The upper and lower palate. And inside the cheeks of the mouth as sensation, as vibration. Now feel the whole mouth as an area of feeling, sensation, and let it just manifest as it is. And you're the witness, awareness. Bring attention to the ears, the outer structures of the ears. Let that become conscious. Again, you may feel something, you may not feel something, but that doesn't matter. It's just this attitude of welcoming, listening, knowing. Inside the ear canals. Bring attention to the nose, the bridge of the nose. Let that become conscious. Let it come up into consciousness. And the nostrils. Now, if you're like focusing hard, then your eyes will probably get tense. That's not what we're doing. We're just quite open, welcoming. Then feel the eyes. The orbs of the eyes, these eye sockets. Let that become conscious. And then the eyeballs themselves. And usually right away, you notice how much tension there is there. You're not trying to relax it, because that's another kind of tension, but just letting it become conscious. Be what it is in awareness. Then feel the temples. Let that become conscious. The forehead. And the scalp. Now back of the head. Now feel the whole head as one mass of sensations. Again, this isn't conceptual. It's visceral. Let it become conscious, whatever it is. Now bring attention to your throat. So draw attention down. Feel the throat. Feel the throat inside the throat. And then as you breathe in, feel the throat opening up, kind of elongating if you want. So draw your attention from the temples. Feel the tension in the temples. And just let your attention sort of float down to the throat, opening the throat. And then feel your chest. With the throat open, your chest. And let the chest become conscious, whatever going on there. Go back to the temples and the eyes. Make them conscious. And allow your attention to float down through your throat. Let your shoulders become conscious. And they begin to drop down. And draw your attention to the heart, to the chest. And then breathing at the chest. You're not trying to achieve anything. It's more like an exploration to see what you feel there. So with the throat open, feel the chest. And then feel the belly. And breathe at the belly. So keeping that kind of breath channel open, staying at the heart. Just let the whole body breathe in that way. Noticing the throat, the heart. And then as you're meditating, when you find that you've been planning something or worrying about something, whatever, notice what happened to the head. Notice what's happening in the eyes and in the temples. And if it's getting tense, then just work your way down through the throat to the chest again. And abide there at the chest with the open throat, open channel of breathing, at the belly if you want. So in essence, you kind of keep dropping down from that tension in the head, in the temples, and learn to stay with the chest. Just kind of very open breathing. It's very, very interesting, actually. It's not like a forced thing, so you're exploring. Okay, I'll just leave that. You give that a go, see if it's worthwhile.